All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today, once again, we are going to be talking about the Yieldmax Dividend ETFs. And I say once again because 5 hours ago, we created a little video on NVIDIA and also MicroStrategies, two Yieldmax ETFs that have absolutely popped off the charts. But the reason why I'm making more videos is because I want to show you guys more of the Yieldmax ETFs. I understand that you guys really want to see them. They're one of my best performing videos. And so I thought, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple Yieldmax compilations for you guys. So today in this video, we're going to be talking about TSLY's dividend announcement. We're going to talk about OARK's, Apple's, more like APLY, and then we're also going to go over AMZY's dividend announcements. And these are like the OGs when it comes to Yieldmax ETFs. Of course, there's a lot more Yieldmax ETFs to go over. Today, we're going to go over these four right now in this video, but I'll probably make some videos on these YMAX, YMANG, Utility, the Ultra ETFs from Yieldmax, because I haven't really touched on those at all. And I'm sure you guys subscribed, 4,284, all of you guys, because of our Yieldmax ETF. So I'll get you that along with some lower yielding dividends in the future, but we got to keep them all in mind when we're dividend investing. Today, we're talking about the high yielders. We're talking about TSLY with a distribution rate of about 56%. We're going to call it 56. And just to kind of go over Tesla over the past month, it's been relatively flat. We have the stock charts up for each company, so we're going to do that. You can see here, it started at about $77 over the past month. Over the past 6 months, you could see it's had a really big drawdown. And in March, well, really, in March to April, you could see it went from about $200 all the way down to about $172, where we're currently at. And in terms of the Yieldmax version, seeing pretty much the same thing, went from about $16.20, and it paid out at about $16.06. So not much there, but you could see here once again, start of March, really had that drop, started really at about $19, then dropped all the way down to currently $15.29. This is TSLY is the worst performing Yieldmax fund there is. That's partly because the underlying Tesla has been going down for the complete duration of TSLY's kind of existence. But let's see how it reflected in the dividend. And we can see here, the dividend actually did go down to about 69 cents, 69 cents there. And it is payable today on April 8th. But you can see here that they split their dividends. So the 80 cents that we're receiving now isn't the 80 cents that we were receiving way back in April last year, but instead it's half of that pretty much. And now we're only receiving about 68 cents on half of our Yieldmax shares for TSLY. So TSLY has been a pretty big dud. Even for my portfolio here, you can see currently I'm sitting at about 40%, and that's with a lot of money reinvested into TSLY. So still sitting at negative 40%. Definitely going to need Tesla to have a recovery in order for me to recoup some losses on TSLY, as I'm sure all of you guys are doing the same. Now, go into our next one. What is our next one here? We have OARK, and I just want to kind of put that up here in our ETFs here. So our next stock that we're talking about is OARK, and OARK is kind of similar to TSLY, but not at the same time, because TSLY fell from $40 because of the stock split all the way down to $15. Now OARK is doing slightly better. It's fallen from about $20 down to about $12. Keep in mind, of course, there was a lot of dividends paid out during this time, and so it's not all just this capital loss, but there's also a lot in terms of the dividends being paid out. And for the month of April, you can see here they paid out roughly a 48 cent dividend. And so that's kind of on par, if not better, than a majority of the OARK dividends that were paid out in the past. And it seems like I don't have a OARK thing here. So I want to go to ARK Innovations ETF, and I want to see how the ETF is performing in relation to the underlying stock. Now we could see here as long as this loads, we could see here over the past little while and over the past month, it looks like OARK has kind of been a bit flat. They haven't really moved too much here. As we can see, they've moved from about $13.50 down to $12.50, but that's also including the dividend, which looks like was paid out on April 3rd right there. Now, when we're looking at ARK Innovation over the past month, we can see it's been it's been down. It was up to 51, went down to 48. You can call that consolidating. It's nothing crazy. And over the past year, it looks like they've had a wild stock chart, which obviously has probably eaten away at OARK, the TSLY version, because Yieldmax strategies, they don't like these big upswings and these big downswings. They like stocks like Apple, where over the long term, they just slowly trend up. This is the best strategy. Apple, for example, where it slowly trends up over time. You're able to capture those dividend yields and also some capital appreciation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to APLY here on Yahoo Finance, and we're going to go over Apple's stock price over the past month compared to APLY. Now, when looking at Apple here, we can see it's been relatively flat over the past 6 months. It's actually been down. So Apple was up to about almost $200, which is its highest valuation yet. And it's a $2.6 trillion company, so nothing to shy away from. But you can see it's fallen from about $200 to about $168. And honestly, if I was buying Apple long term, maybe this is a point where I'd look to potentially buy in at. It's almost at yearly lows. So that's one thing to think about. And over the past month for APLY, you can see that it's gone down with the stock over the past month, which is expected. And it's gone down slightly worse in my opinion, and that's just due to the fact that we did pay out that dividend, because all Yieldmax funds, they pay out those dividends. So let's see exactly what Apple paid out for the month, and there really wasn't that much stock movement, so I expect it to be pretty much what it like respectively close to the others. So you can see here it pays out dividends roughly about 40, goes down to 17, 40, 50, 17. So their April dividend was 38 cents. 38 cents, nothing crazy, pretty much the average of what they pay in the past, nothing crazy. But that's also the fact that the stock pretty much trended down during the exact same time period, so I wouldn't expect a crazy dividend. Now going to our last stock we're going to review today, which is going to be AMZY. And with AMZY, over the past month, it has done very well. Amazon is a stock that does very well naturally. You can see here over the max price chart history, it has pretty much gone straight up over time. There was a little bit consolidating back in 2021. Fell all the way back down to $84, but had a great recovery over the past year, going from $84 all the way up to $185. So a $100 gain, which is over 100% gain. And in the past month alone, it's gone from $72 all the way up to $85. This obviously translates to the AMZY Yieldmax version, where it went from $22.22 all the way up to $33.26. But it also paid out a dividend, which was roughly at about $23.78. And when we look at the AMZY dividend, this should be a bit bigger than their normal dividends. I would suspect see about 50, 40, 30, 60, 64. Paid out about a 69 to 70%. 69 cent to 70 cent dividend right there. And that's pretty much expected. It was a little bit better than it normally was for AMZY and for the underlying stock Amazon. And so it's natural that the Yieldmax fund pays out a little more due to the good capital appreciation. And even though AMZY is a Yieldmax ETF, this is one I'd keep in mind as well, because they're currently paying, what is this dividend? They're currently paying a 36% dividend, and you're receiving capital appreciation on your fund. So that is really good. That is something to keep in mind as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it maybe opened your eyes to some new potential possibilities of APLY, the Apple Yieldmax fund, and also AMZY, the Amazon Yieldmax fund, because of their steady appreciation over time and their high dividends at the same time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, we're up to 4,284 subscribers. We'll have more Yieldmax videos coming on the way very shortly. So please do stay tuned. I hope you guys do take care till next time, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.